Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at some really fascinating stuff about AI and how it's impacting the workplace. We've got some great research and insights from the Financial Times and a bunch of other sources. Plus, we've got an expert here to help us break it all down. So get this. Imagine having an AI assistant that attends meetings for you, takes notes, preps reports. We're going to dive into all that, look at the potential upsides, and yeah, we'll definitely tackle those concerns people have about AI in the workplace.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing how quickly this technology's taken off. I mean, think back to when ChatGPT first came out in late 2022. It was like someone just flipped a switch and suddenly generative AI is everywhere.
It really is everywhere. And it's not just, writing emails or poems, it's creating images, videos, even writing computer code.
And get this, it's even being used to analyze DNA. Think about the potential there for personalized medicine, predicting diseases before they even show up.
Okay, that is officially mind-blowing. But, I was reading that while CEOs are super excited about AI boosting productivity, a lot of companies haven't actually trained their employees on how to use these new tools. It's almost like buying a Ferrari but not teaching anyone how to drive it.
That is such a great analogy, and I think that gap between having the technology and knowing how to use it, that's a major hurdle for a lot of businesses right now. So I'm curious, have you had any training on AI at your work?
Not really. It's been a lot of figuring things out on my own, which is probably why I relate to the maximalist persona from that Salesforce research. They identified 5 different ways that people approach AI at work. Maximalists, undergrounds, rebels, superfans, and observers. The maximalists are all in. The undergrounds are using it, but keeping it secret.
I think that underground group is especially interesting. They're using AI, but they're afraid to tell anyone, almost like they think it's cheating or something. It really makes you think about workplace culture and how we view these tools.
Right. It's like they're afraid of being too good at their jobs. But speaking of perceptions, I took that Slack AI quiz and yeah, total maximalist here. But all this cool tech aside, there's a big elephant in the room, and that's trust. I read that only 7% of workers completely trust AI. That's a tiny number.
It is a really low number, and building trust is absolutely key if we want people to actually embrace AI. And it seems like managers have a really big role to play here.
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the work environment, making sure people feel comfortable experimenting with AI and asking questions.
Exactly. And, employees who feel trusted by their managers are twice as likely to try AI. So that says a lot about open communication, clear guidelines.
Totally. It's about setting expectations, providing training, and making sure everyone feels safe to speak up if they have concerns. Now, one of the things that I found super exciting about AI is its potential to level the playing field. Helping less experienced workers perform at a much higher level.
Yeah, it's like having this super-powered assistant that can guide your decisions, take on those routine tasks, especially for people who are newer to a role. That can be huge.
Totally. It could be a game changer. But of course, we have to be realistic. There are potential downsides, like people becoming too reliant on AI, or even, losing their jobs to automation.
Right. Finding that balance is key. So let's shift gears for a second. Let's look at a real-world example of a company using AI effectively. Have you heard of Lattice? They're an HR software company doing some pretty innovative things with AI.
I've heard the name, yeah, but I'd love to hear more about what they're doing.
So Lattice is using AI to improve the performance review process. Their system analyzes data, figures out writing styles, and even suggests feedback for managers to give their employees.
Here at MindMeld Excel, we believe our best future will rely on a fusion of man and machine. Subscribe to the channel to follow our journey.
Wow, that's really interesting. Makes you wonder if AI could help those tough managers who give terrible feedback. Maybe AI could actually make them better at their jobs.
It's a fascinating possibility.
Yeah.
And it shows how AI can be used to address these real workplace challenges.
Definitely food for thought. But, this whole AI revolution, it really requires a balanced approach. We can't just jump in head first without considering the costs and what our organization actually needs.
It's about experimenting, learning, and being willing to adapt as this technology keeps evolving.
And honestly, I think we're all still figuring this out. AI is changing so fast, there are bound to be bumps along the way.
That's true, and the important thing is to create a work environment that's supportive for both human and artificial intelligence, recognizing that both have their own strengths. And, thinking about how those strengths can work together, it really feels like we're stepping into this whole new world of work. And with that comes a whole new set of questions. Like, what are the rules for working alongside AI? Is it okay to have your AI assistant sit in on every meeting? What happens if you disagree with the feedback your AI gives you?
Here at MindMeld XL, we believe our best future will rely on a fusion of man and machine. Subscribe to the channel to follow our journey.
Those are some great questions. It's like we need a whole new etiquette guide for working with AI. And we can't forget about the potential economic implications. Some experts are predicting massive job losses because of AI. Others think it'll create tons of new opportunities. So I'm curious, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's a really complex issue. I think it's likely that some jobs will be automated, yeah, and that will probably lead to some job losses in certain sectors. But at the same time, AI is going to create new industries and roles that we haven't even thought of yet. The key is going to be adapting and focusing on skills that complement AI, things like creativity, problem solving, and emotional intelligence.
It reminds me of the Industrial Revolution. Back then, people were worried that machines would take over all the jobs, but in the end, more jobs were created than destroyed.
Right. History does have a way of repeating itself.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that AI can analyze DNA. That's pretty incredible stuff. What are some of the ways AI could be used in healthcare?
Well, I was reading about how AI could be used to develop personalized treatments based on a person's unique genetic makeup. So basically, you would have a treatment plan created just for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't stop there.
Mm.
AI could also be used to predict disease outbreaks before they happen, or even assist with surgery.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having a team of brilliant doctors working with you 24/7. And it's not just healthcare. Think about finance, transportation, education. The potential applications are limitless. AI is truly transforming the world as we know it.
It is both exciting and a little bit daunting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely both. It's incredible to think about all the positive changes AI could bring, but we also have to be cautious and think through those potential downsides.
We can't just blindly implement AI without a plan, right?
Yeah.
We need to figure out how to integrate it into our lives responsibly and ethically.
Right, absolutely. So, okay, let's bring it back down to earth for a minute and talk about practicality. How can businesses actually implement AI effectively? It seems like it's more than just buying some fancy new software.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely more than just buying the latest AI tools. I think it starts with really understanding your business needs and then identifying specific areas where AI can actually add value.
It's like that analogy you used earlier about the race car. You need to have a clear vision, a solid plan, and the right people in place to make it all work.
Exactly. And it's important to have a culture of experimentation and continuous improvement. AI is constantly evolving, so businesses need to be adaptable and willing to learn as they go.
Okay, so speaking of real-world applications, we talked about Lattice earlier and how they're using AI to improve performance reviews. What are some other companies doing innovative things with AI?
Well, there's this company called Gong that uses AI to analyze sales calls. So their system can actually identify patterns in successful sales conversations and then provide feedback to sales reps, which helps them close more deals.
So it's like having a virtual sales coach. That's brilliant. And I've also heard of companies using AI-powered chatbots to personalize customer experiences.
You're right. AI chatbots are getting more and more advanced all the time. They can answer those complex customer questions and offer personalized recommendations, almost like having a personal shopper that's available 24/7.
Right, that makes so much sense. And I imagine AI can also be used to automate a lot of those repetitive tasks that people just hate doing, like data entry or scheduling meetings.
You're exactly right. Automating those mundane tasks frees up employees so they can focus on more strategic and creative work.
So it's not about replacing human workers, it's about making us all more efficient and effective.
Exactly. It's about using AI to augment our abilities
Hmm.
and allowing us to really focus on the things that humans do best.
So speaking of the future, what are some of the emerging trends in AI that you're seeing?
Well, one trend that's really interesting is the rise of AI-powered virtual assistants. These assistants can help us with everything, from scheduling meetings and booking travel to managing our inboxes.
It's like having a personal Siri or Alexa for work. That would be amazing. And I've been hearing a lot about augmented reality, or AR, and how it's being used in the workplace. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Sure, augmented reality basically overlays digital information onto the real world. It's like those games where you can catch Pokemon in your living room, right? But in a work setting, it was being used to give workers real-time instructions or to give architects a virtual tour of a building before it's even built.
Wow, I can definitely see how that would be useful in so many fields. So, what other trends are you seeing?
Well, AI is also changing how companies find and recruit talent. AI-powered tools can screen resumes, analyze candidate profiles, and even conduct those initial interviews.
Wow, that's got to be a huge time saver for recruiters.
Absolutely. It gives recruiters more time to focus on what's really important, building relationships with candidates and making sure they're the right fit for the company. So it's clear that AI is going to continue to reshape nearly every aspect of the workplace.
It really is. AI has the potential to transform how we work, learn, and interact with the world around us.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that AI is just a tool. It's up to us to make sure we're using it responsibly and ethically, and always keeping human well-being at the forefront of our minds.
I completely agree. We can't let the excitement of this new technology overshadow the need for careful consideration and ethical decision making.
Right, and that brings us to the topic of cost. You mentioned earlier that the cost of developing AI is astronomical. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Well, I remember reading that it can cost tens of billions of dollars to develop these advanced AI models.
You're right, you're right. And right now, companies are absorbing those costs, to encourage adoption. But that can't last forever.
So eventually those costs will trickle down to consumers and businesses.
I think it's inevitable. And that raises an important question for all of us. How will that impact access to AI? Will it become something that's only available to large corporations with deep pockets? Or will there be ways to ensure wider accessibility?
Yeah, that's a great question. Will there be ways to make sure that this technology is available to everyone? These are conversations that we need to be having now. It really makes you wonder about the future.
It does. It really does. Think about it. As AI becomes more powerful, who will be in control? Governments? Corporations? Or will we find a way to govern AI democratically? These are big questions that are going to shape the future of our societies, and they are questions that we all need to engage with.
Wow, those are some heavy questions to ponder. This deep dive has been such a fascinating exploration of AI's potential impact on the workplace. We've explored real-world applications, ethical considerations, and even glimpsed into the future of work.
And hopefully you, our listener, feel more informed and prepared to navigate this exciting, rapidly evolving landscape.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the ways people are reacting to AI to the potential benefits and concerns.
We've looked at real-world examples, considered the ethical implications, and even imagined what the future of work might look like in a world that's powered by AI.
Yeah, it really is a lot to think about, but it is exciting to think about all the possibilities, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
I think that's true. We're at the very beginning of this whole AI journey. And if you really step back and look at the big picture, we're not just talking about automating tasks here. AI has the potential to completely change how we even think about work itself. Imagine a world where work is less about those repetitive, mundane tasks and more about things like creativity, problem solving, connecting with other people.
It's funny you should say that because it makes me think of those sci-fi movies where you see robots doing all the boring jobs, and humans are free to focus on art, exploration, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Right, and maybe that's not as far-fetched as it seems.
Right.
But of course we have to be mindful of, potential job losses. And I mean, everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
That's a really important point. It's about using AI to create a more equitable and fulfilling future of work for everyone. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about the cost of developing AI. You said it can be astronomical. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. Developing these really advanced AI models, it can cost tens of billions of dollars. And right now, companies are basically footing the bill to get people using AI, but that's not something they can keep doing forever.
So eventually those costs are going to have to be passed on to consumers and businesses.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much inevitable. And that raises a really important question for all of us, really. How is that going to impact access to AI? Will AI become something that's only available to big corporations and wealthy individuals who can afford it? Or will we find ways to make sure it's accessible to everyone?
That is a really important question. It gets at those, bigger societal issues of equity and access to technology. These are conversations we need to be having now to make sure that AI benefits all of us, not just a privileged few.
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to a final thought-provoking question for everyone to consider. As AI becomes more powerful, more integrated into our lives, who who will have control over it? Will it be governments? Will it be these powerful tech companies? Or can we find a way to govern AI democratically? That is a question that is going to shape the future of our societies, and it's one that we all need to be thinking about.
Wow, that is a powerful question to leave us with. This deep dive has been an incredible journey into the world of AI in the workplace. We've covered so much ground today. From the ways people are reacting to AI, to the incredible possibilities and the potential pitfalls, we've explored real-world applications, considered the ethical implications, and we even dared to imagine what the future of work might look like in a world that's transformed by AI.
Yeah, and hopefully, you, our listener, you're leaving this deep dive feeling more informed
Oh.
and better equipped to navigate this exciting, rapidly evolving landscape.
I think the key takeaway for me is that the future of AI, it's being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in making sure that it's a future that benefits everyone.
Absolutely. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, never stop asking questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Here at MindMeld XL, we believe our best future will rely on a fusion of man and machine. Subscribe to the channel to follow our journey.